What's up, nerds? Welcome to Nerds Gone Rogue B-Sides. Remember, you can find B-Sides every Thursday here on youtube.com/NGRradio and NGRradio.com. I'm Corey. Joining me, as always, Moose and Matt. A very under-the-weather Matt, but he's a team player. He's like Jordan in the finals.
No.
He's got the flu. He's got some pains. He's got a giant jug of water. And he's going to score 50 points.
I mean, that'd be cool.
Left and right. Baby,
Yeah.
left and right.
Yeah. He's got that sick crossover. No.
I mean, I do got some handles. I still have my handles.
Love handles.
Them too.
From all that beer. Oh.
I mean, yeah.
Just kidding. Mine are bigger. It's fine.
True, they are. I've seen them. You
Mhm.
showed me. I thought it was awkward then.
Yeah.
I think it's awkward now talking about it.
Still awkward.
Yeah, it is.
Still awkward.
Yeah. Well, it's fine. I'm just saying. There's more to love.
True.
More to love. How you guys doing? You guys doing good? Doing good?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm about to bring it down.
Okay, great.
All right.
No, I think sometimes as you know, our groups of friends and groups we are in the internet and just the things we choose to follow and not follow, I think sometimes we get lost in that area where maybe there's not a stigma still attached to video games. And you know, recently I've heard some people say some things about people who play video games that are like, I forgot people still thought like that. Basically I want to ask you guys if you guys still see that stigma played out in your day-to-day life of people that play video games are dorks and they are dirty and live in their parents' basements and all they want to do is shoot people and watch people bleed and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, I still see it, but I think it's kind of like the demographic you work in too sort of plays a part. Like I bring my Switch to work and I have two predominant nurse coworkers and two predominant doctor coworkers. The doctor coworkers actually don't ever mention it when they see me playing it. They actually just sort of like, oh, he's doing that. Okay, great. And then the other ones, there's a younger nurse and an older nurse. The older one has some judgmental things to say about it. The younger one will ask what I'm playing and if her kids will like it.
Okay.
And more often than not, I'm saying, yeah, your kids will probably like this, but it's not something they've heard of, so they might not go in for it. So, I've also had questions about, or had conversations about like video game addiction, if it's real, if it's not. And I'm like, a video game, I mean, I think it probably is real. But video game addiction is no different than any other addiction. It depends on what the person wants out of it and what they get out of it. And if they're willing to sacrifice everything else for what they get out of that. I mean, I think it's very, very much an issue and a problem. I mean, we've all heard the stories of internet cafes overseas where people have passed on playing Counter-Strike or Dota, or I don't think that's the content of the game's fault. I think it's clearly the lack of treating addiction seriously. I don't have any answer for it, and I don't really feel like I should speak on it because I am not qualified. But the stigma is totally there. Like if I'm at a hospital ER, they're like, "Oh, video games really at work?" I'm like, dude, yeah, I know. What do you do to pass the time? Well, I look at my phone on Facebook. I go, how often do you play Candy Crush? I'm like, not very often. I go, video games at work, really? It's not a video game, it's a phone game. It's different. No, it's not.
Yeah, like the other day, like I someone that I currently work with was like it was probably around the time I started working where I currently work, and they're like, "Well, what do you do for fun?" And I'm like, "Well, I make YouTube videos about video games and I play video games." And then like the automatic reaction by three people was like, "I would never date anybody that played video games." I'm like, okay,
And then you're like,
but
taken.
I'm like, well, that's fine because I'm married and my wife's hot, so like I don't even care.
Yeah.
But but why is that your automatic reaction?
Yeah.
Like, and then they go on to talk about like all 35 seasons of Keeping Up with the Kardashians and Real Housewives. I'm like, how is playing video games any different from you watching 4 hours of TV before you go to bed? Like, like I just don't understand why your automatic reaction is like, oh, I would never date anybody that played video games. I would never want to be with anybody that played video games. I'm like, why? Like, just, and like, I was lucky enough at like my old job where I had friends that played games and we all kind of like, everybody just like, nobody cared, right? And like, I still keep in touch with them still, like Joey and my friend Mitch, and we play games together still, and it's like I never really thought anything of it. Everybody just knew, like, okay, you guys play games, who cares, right? And it's just like I walk into here and it's like I don't know, it's just like these people, why do you just like scoff and say that? Like, this is my second day here and that's what the first thing you say to me, like and like I'm not trying to like be mean or anything, and like these people, they're nice people. It's not like I'm trying to like put them down or anything. It's just like I just don't understand why still like that's still the thing that you say. But
yeah,
it's
I
just
mean, I've had.
guess.
I mean, I feel like well, actually, before I go, Moose, you have any video game stigma issues in your experience?
Like a mixed group. So like I'm on a team of, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 people right now, and 3 of us play video games. So it's not, we are the minority, but it's not as minor as it would be some places. I at least have people I could talk to video games with about. Like when I worked at Lowe's, like it kind of gets, sometimes it gets frustrating because you're like, people are trying to get into video games and or they start playing video games. Like I had a buddy who bought an Xbox for the Kinect for his daughter, and then he's like, man, I wish I would have bought a PS4 instead. And I was like, I can't. I was like, that sucks. Just trade it in and buy a PS4, because she doesn't even use the Kinect. But anyways, so we would be talking about Titanfall, and then when the new Battlefield came out, we would talk about Battlefield and like all that stuff. And I'm like, you should try this, and you're like, he's like, I'm not into that stuff. And so you're trying to like help them expand their horizons in their video game world. And so you got the people that are like, I just want to play this, and that's all I want to play. And then and then you got the people like my coworker that sits next to me. She has an Xbox One, and she plays a lot of video games. Like she's heavy into Elder Scrolls Online, so she plays that with her friends, and she's looking forward to the new. I think the new expansion drops tomorrow, so she's excited about that. So we'll talk about video games, even old school ones. Like we'll talk about Super Meat Boy. I'll be like, have you seen like the new one and this? And we'll have good conversations. But then like this morning, a coworker of mine was like, I didn't know how big my boyfriend was into video gaming until we were at Walmart, and he was like, can we go into the electronics section? And I was like, yeah, let's go down that way. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I think once we move in all that stuff, and like a month or two, I'm gonna buy a PS4. And she's like, what? And I think he might already have an Xbox because she's talked about him playing stuff before. And he's like, yeah, he's like, there's a game that's coming out on the PS4 that I want. And he's like, he's talking about stuff, and she's just like no. She's like, I'm like, well, hey, I was like, you gotta let a man have his hobbies. And she's like, paintballing, mountain biking. She's like,
We've got a frozen moose.
not only if you pay full price for them, And so I feel there's still like a stigma where, and I don't think it's like 30 to 40-year-olds. It's like maybe like late 40s to 60s-year-olds where they still think it's for kids.
Well,
Like if you were to mention to them video games, they'd still think of Mario. They'd still think of it rotting your brain. When it, they don't.
But that's like the people that I work with are my age, and some of them are even younger and still think that. Which is like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, but then you also get people,
I get it.
You'll get them. Yeah, but they won't. They'll knock it. It's like, don't knock it till you try it. You know what I mean? Like, try video games. Like, see how much you enjoy it. And I agree with you, Corey. Like, people that are like, oh, I'd never do some of these video games, but then like they can recite like everything that's happened in every episode of every season of the Keeping Up with Kardashians, and it's like, really? That's like the trashiest of trash. At least like the video game I play works on my hand-eye coordination and my problem-solving skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is your show, dude? Your show just rots your brain. Like, I used to get that from my ex-wife. Like, she would.
But
be
Kanye's in it now.
She's like, you play so many video games. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't read very much anymore. And I don't watch a lot of movies because I'd rather interact with my story. I'd rather kind of control where the story's going and control the pacing and the action and have some fun with it. You know what I mean? You'd sit and watch Conan, and you're not going to see all the times he goes in, diving into the dark and something into the main story, you know what I mean, of that movie. So like in a video game, you get so much more, and you have so much more to move around inside that universe. And so,
Moose is frozen again.
We got a frozen moose.
So
we got
I'm doing the same thing. Like, I don't like. I think you're watching trash. I don't think you're trash for watching it, but I'm not going to sit here and pick on you for it. Like, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do that. Why do you have to pick on what I do? Yeah, exactly. Live your life. Why you got to shit all over mine? So, Kelly, my wife, she has no problem with me playing video games, and I try and keep a balance. I think that might be the one thing too. Is like, there's a lot of talks about video games are now like, aren't they categorized as an addiction now? Gaming.
Well, video game addiction is now part of the World Health Organization.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, there's that stigma to it, and you play all the time. But like, if I've been playing for like 3 hours in the morning, she's like, "Hey, let's go hit up Walmart. Let's take the dogs for a walk and stuff like that." I'm like, "Fine, let's go and do that." You know what I mean? Like, let's go hang out and have a good time. Like, I have no problem. I mean, obviously, if I'm in the middle of a freaking boss fight in Dark Souls, I'm going to be like, hey, just give me till I'm done. But she does a great job of understanding, like, I might not be at a stopping point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm about to take on a boss in Dark Souls, because, like, sometimes she'll even come in and preface it what she wants me to do. She'll be like, hey, can you do this for me? She's like, but when you get a free moment, she's like, I know you're, you're co-oping with people. Just when you get a second, can you do this for me? I'll be like, yes, and then whenever, we're done beating a boss or get to a stopping point, I'll be like, I'll be right back. I just got to handle something for the wife, so she's pretty accommodating to that and to me playing. And she plays on her phone. She plays a lot of the like the match 3 and stuff games on her phone while she watches her Netflix and Hulu on her iPad. And I'm like, have fun with that. Whatever you want to do, So, but I think there's still a stigma. I think it's becoming more accepted though. You know, especially now that there's streaming, you know, and people are making money playing video games, like leagues. Like you can, you know, your kid can get into a league, and you know that could be his freaking scholarship for college.
Yeah.
You know, or something like that, or set him up for life. You know, I mean, if I was Ninja, you know, the guy who's streaming Fortnite, I would maybe do a couple upgrades. Like if he was in a house that he was either renting or like paying off like a mortgage off, I would buy myself and my wife a nice car, like nothing extravagant, nice car, furnish my house, and then every cent I made from there on out would just go into a savings account. I would be like, okay, I'm making. What does he make? He makes like 150,000.
He makes like $500,000 a month.
500,000 a month. That's what it is. I'd be putting like,
dude, you could
95% of that away.
Making that amount of money, you could stream for 2 years and be set for life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But see, here's the thing, and I hope he realizes, and I think he's smart enough to do it. From the videos I've seen him talking about it, he's very level-headed, and and I think he knows. I'm not saying that he's not going to last, but he knows that Fortnite's not going to last for him. So he might have a trouble getting in on the next thing. You know what I mean? Because I mean, like Minecraft. Minecraft took what? Almost 10 years to kind of die off. Like now it's Fortnite. You know what I mean? Like it used to be Minecraft all the time. Just watch people play Minecraft. You know, and watch Minecraft videos. And now it's Fortnite. You know, in another 5 to 10 years, it's going to be something else. And you know, he's going to have to learn to adapt to that. But like you said, Corey, if he plays, or if he plays for 2 years, you know, he's set for life. You know what I mean? And I mean, and even if you take into account taxes, paying, you know, for his healthcare, all that stuff, like you're still coming out with like a large chunk of that. You know what I mean? That 500,000 a month to bank and put away and be like, I can live modestly for the rest of my life. You know?
Yeah.
So, I still say that there's a stigma there, but it's becoming more common, and especially with I also want to point out, like especially with the walking simulators, like Telltale games, like it's something like that's kind of like a gateway. Like you can sit down, like your girlfriend might not like video games, but you can sit down with the controller and say, this is like an interactive novel. You're gonna sit here and watch me play it, but you're gonna help me make decisions. So let's play this together. You know what I mean? And because I know a lot of people who have done that with the Telltale games, who have played with their significant other, and it's been kind of like, you know, a nice experience for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just like sometimes, like, you know, it's not that it like. It's not that I wasn't aware that people still thought that, you know, it's different, like where I work now and like being out and looking at like where I go and stuff. Like I live in middle America, like predominantly white people who just like have, you know, Trump signs in their lawns and America is like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh yeah. Sometimes I forget you know, because all my friends play games. My wife is very accepting of me playing games, like, and that's the thing too. Like, I don't even think I told my wife until like a couple months after we were dating that I played games, because like of that, you know, and like
that stigma.
Yeah, but I mean, she very rarely cares that I play games. You know, if we're like supposed to be somewhere and I'm just like kind of on a weekend and I'm like sitting there playing Switch, I'm like, hold on. She's like, come on, we gotta go. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
But
I brought it out date one with Reba. I'm like, listen, some things you have to know right off the bat. We had the most awkward first date ever.
I remember her saying that.
How we made it to a second date still, you know, boggles both of our minds. But
it's your charm, Matt. You just turned it on. You turned it up to 11. Charming. You turned your awkwardness up to 15 and your charm up to 11.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, if that's what I did. But no, I brought it out like the first date, and we actually had a conversation about it. She's like, okay, do you have a job? Yes. Does it get in the way of your job? No. Do you pay your rent? Yes. Do you pay your other bills? Yes. Does it get in the way of your bills? No. I don't see a problem with this. And then, and as things progressed, like she would ask questions about video games and what kinds I liked versus, why I like them. And eventually I found a game called Adventure Pals that had couch co-op, and I actually said, I'll bet you Reba would like co-oping this. And I sent her a trailer, and she's like, yeah, I would try that. And she's been having a ball ever since. She had a guest account her first time. She got a couple of trophies. She's like, why don't I get to keep those? I go, because you don't have a PSN account. And she's like, oh, I guess I'm creating a PSN account.
Yeah.
Now, I don't expect her to step up to Dark Souls at any point, but I also like the fact that there are games that we can play together, and it can actually, I mean, a lot of the times when I'm playing, she'll just sit down next to me and we're just hanging out. Like she's watching something on her iPad and I'm trying to wreck fools in Dark Souls. Especially lately, but I think if she had a stigma at some point, like I've gone a ways to prove that, let's be real. There are points when the stereotype is right.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying like there's a stigma, there's a stereotype for a reason, because stereotypes exist for a reason, because it's, and some of them negative, some of them positive, like whatever, but they exist. And there are I have a friend, I'm not going to name any names, but he just stops everything in his life to play video games. And I'm like, that's not how you do that. But
yeah, I agree.
Like if you're playing video games, like from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, like ignoring your life, like that's just
as great as it sounds, it's a bad idea.
Yeah. And like, I'm not going to say like I have all these things figured out, because like there's been our YouTube channel is a different situation, and I've been doing a lot to try to catch everything up before I take some time off because of our baby. But like there's been a couple times where like Sana and I have had to cut our night short, but I mean, she's been super understanding about it, and like, it's not like I'm our relationship is being ruined by video games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've got Moose and I to do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like tonight, I was like, hey, we're gonna start at 8:30 tonight instead of 9 because Matt, you don't feel good, and I wanted to like maybe get to bed earlier than we have been.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, she understandably, she's like, yeah, that sucks, but I get it. So like, now she's in the other room watching whatever, probably Real Housewives or Teen Mom or the Kardashians, to be quite honest with you. It's fine. It's fine. You know what?
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
So.
The stigma is real. More people should play video games, and more people should realize that they are a lot of fun.
They are fun. I think that's why we all still play them.
I think the other thing is like some people are afraid of playing them just because like it's that learning curve,
Mm-hmm.
and like you have to find something. Like my wife would probably play more video games if she could get over the Y-axis, like the dual analog sticks, and so like.
And that's why Nintendo never put a second stick on their controller for a long time, because like people, that was a barrier to entry for a lot of people, was that controlling the camera in a third 3D space. And that's why the Wii was so successful. And
I remember
that was a weird goddamn thing. I had trouble with that barrier to entry with Quake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was Oni.
Yeah, when I
Yes, sir.
played Halo on Xbox, I was like,
Yeah,
I can't do what they want me to do this,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
yeah.
It was just
Because like when I got my PS2, like I had played Ape Escape, and there wasn't really a camera. That controller was used for the net to catch the monkeys. But like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like my first few games for PS2 never didn't really is a camera because I hadn't really figured it out yet.
Yeah.
But like Halo was like the first big game that I was like, oh, what's happening here? And I was like, I want Perfect Dark and Goldeneye back. I don't want I don't want this. I want to. And then obviously we all kind of got accustomed to like the right stick just being the camera, and some games it does something interesting, but
I mean,
but I
I
think
like that
that's
in GoldenEye, the y-axis was completely optional because all you had to do was hold it, and
yeah,
you would lift, but you would always default back to center.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's why my wife likes playing Mario Kart a lot is because like the Switch version you can turn on like automatic go, stay on the track, like all that kind of stuff, and like she really likes playing like that because it makes her feel like she's doing better, and I think she's excited for the two games. She's excited. She wants to play more games, and the two games she's most excited for is like Mario Tennis and that Sonic racing game because she's like, "Oh, cool! We've been playing this same Mario Kart for like 5 years now. I think we need a change of scenery."
Sonic Racing's difficult
I know.
compared to Mario Kart.
I know. I was like, well, the one on Xbox, like the 360 one is free on Xbox. Why don't we start with that first, and then if we really need Team Sonic Racing, we'll dive into it. But at that point, we're gonna have a 3 or 4 month old on our hands. It's like probably won't be playing much anything.
Nope.
So, but anyways, anybody else have any last thoughts on Stigma? No. Yeah. I think, maybe if people would take the time to educate themselves and then like also be responsible about playing games if you're in like some sort of relationship that's like,
Yeah.
if you have a significant other that's worried about it, like educate someone or like just be a responsible adult at the same time. So just like all recreational activities, be responsible.
Yeah.
Be responsible.
Yeah.
So, well, I think that's going to call it a B-side. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, you can find B-sides every Thursday at noon Eastern time here on youtube.com/NGR Radio and NGRradio.com. Download the podcast every Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern time. It's a good one.
It's on Spotify every Monday as well.
I promise there may or may not be segments that you may or may not enjoy. So, yeah.
Oh no!
Once again, aiming at that low bar and hitting.
I am. I know, right? That way, dude, I'm setting their expectations that way. If they may or may not like an episode, their expectations are already low. So maybe they'll be like, oh, that was a good one. And they'll be excited to watch the next one.
Prepare to get your heart broken.
Just saying. Also, check out the new intros. They're fun.
Yeah. The new intros are good.
They are fun. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell. I guess we're supposed to say that now since we're big time.
Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
Yeah.
And yeah, that
B-side, Nana, and out. Let's end this.
Yeah. Goodbye. I guess I don't have to stop, do I?
No, you don't. I'm gonna get more water because I drank all this. I'll be right back.
Yep, I'm gonna get some water too, I think.
I'll be right back as well. Sorry, watchers. We'll be back.
What a time.
Yes, I just farted. Oh.
Yeah. So Matt, there's a game I want you to check out on Switch.
Yeah,
Smoke and Sacrifice.
funny. I've been playing that.
So then you already have it.
I do. It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's coming to PS4 and Xbox One later this year. So I'm trying to get the developer to come on our podcast. Not this one, but
I know.
next I'm planning.
I assume
We can get them on this one.
that'd be cool.
Yeah. But I think the only problem is they're in the Pacific. So like recording would be rough. I think they're in what Korea do we like? North Korea? South Korea?
South Korea is the one we like.
I think they're in South Korea, I want to say. Because I don't think they'd allow them to develop video games in North Korea.
Probably not. Not with anything that said anything.
Maybe that was.
Can you guys stop talking so I can see Keel's records?
Yeah, he said that like a long time ago.
I'm just getting into the
Chat.
chat now. I am slow on the uptake today.
It happens.
I'm not trying to ignore chat, Andy. I promise. I'm just under the
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
And
La la la.
Fa la 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 la.
Okay.
oh wait, I'm sorry. They're in East London. Yeah, it was the General Bros that were over in Asia. So, still, it'll be interesting.
Oh. All right. Let's have a show.
Yeah.
I appreciate the enthusiastic burp, Corey.
Woo! Showtime!
All right. Oh, actually, hang on. The hell. All right.
Dag nabbit.
What the hell's happening here? Okay. All right. Okay. One more swig of water and then we'll start.
Swiggeroo.
Oh, man. All right. Apologies for any lack of energy. I'm really trying. In 3, 2, 1.